We are going to start the chapter Polynomials. So we should understand what does the word polynomial means. The polynomial word is made up of two things. One is poly. The word poly means many, and the word nomial means terms. It means many terms. The word many we know, that's simple. But what the nomial means? It is the terms. And what is a term? Term is a combination of constant and variables. Let's say if I say 2x, so 2x is a term. Why? Because this is a combination of a variable that is x and the coefficient that is 2. X is a variable and 2 is the coefficient. So this complete form a term. If I write 3x square, so we can say that again x square is a variable and this 3 is a coefficient. So this 3x square is a term. And if I write 5x plus 2, so what I can say? Yes, 5x is a term and 2 is a term. It means it consists of two terms. The number associated with the variable is called as the coefficient. So 2 is a coefficient here, 3 is a coefficient here, and in this case 5x, 5 is a coefficient. Now we are going to discuss the three terms in detail. First of all, having a variable. Variables are simply the alphabets. We can say variables are alphabets like x, y, z, w. These are the variables, or we can say simply alphabets. Now, the coefficients. Coefficients are numbers with variable. Numbers with variables. So we can take an example of the coefficient. So if I write 2x, so in this case 2 is a number and x is a variable. So 2 is the coefficient of x. Now terms are separated by, like I say 2x is a term, 5y is a term. If I say 7t, this is a term. These are the example of terms. Variable, simply alphabet. Coefficients, the number with the variable. And the terms, the 2x, 5y and 7t are called the terms. This we have taken an example of a polynomial and we are going to discuss about it. See here. This 5 is called the coefficient of x square. Similarly, this 7 is also the coefficient of x square. Now, this 5x square, this whole 5x square, this one is called term. This is a term. If this whole 7x is called a term, and this 8 is also a term, but this is called a constant term because having no variable. Constant term. Okay, so we have the terms. Now, then what we can observe here, this is a combination of three terms. First term, second term and third term. Now one thing to be observed, you can see there is written x square. So this is the power of variable. And this complete forms a polynomial. But one thing to be observed, we have to see the power of the variable. And the power of the variable should always be a whole number. What I said, the power of the variable is always a whole number, then only we say it is a polynomial. Okay, so now we can see the power is here too. Here the power of x is 1 and the constant term, the power of x is 0. So we can say that this whole term is a polynomial. This whole term is a polynomial. Now see here. The power should always be a whole number. And I think whole number is clear, that it starts from 0, 1, 2, 3 and so on. Okay, so this total forms a polynomial. We understand what is the coefficient, what is a term and what is a polynomial. Polynomial is a combination of terms. Keeping in mind the power of the variable, whatever be the variable present, the power should be a whole number. Now the types of the polynomial. There are basically three types we can classify it. It depends on the number of terms. Then it depends on the variable, like how many variable, one variable, two variable or three variables or more than that. Then it depends upon the degree. So we are going to discuss them one by one. So on the basis of terms, it can be classified as one term. One term means monomial. We can have an example of it. Monomial means if I say 3x. 3x is a single term. So this 3x is a one term, so it is called monomial. If two term, I can say 3x plus 5x square. Now we have one term as a 3x and next term as a 5x square. So it became binomial. Why? Because of the two terms. Now trinomial we can say, let's take x square plus 5x plus 7. So now one term, two term and the third term. So we have three terms, so we call it trinomial. This is the classification of the polynomials on the basis of number of terms. So one term, two term, three term, one term is monomial, two term is binomial and the three term is trinomial. Now classification of the polynomials on the basis of number of variables. If a polynomial consists one variable only, let's say if I write x square plus 2x. So we can see that this polynomial consists of only one variable, that is x. X here also, x here also. Now, polynomial in two variables means we can say, let's say 2x plus 3y. So we can say that this polynomial consists of two variables. One is x, another is y. Now, polynomial in three variables. So we can take an example like 2x plus 5y plus 3z. So now we can see this is a polynomial in which we can see that there are three variables, x, y and z. So we have three variables in this polynomial. So we are done with the types of polynomial depending on variables. Now we will be discussing the types of polynomial based on the degree. So first of all, we have to understand what is degree. Degree is maximum power of a variable. So what is degree? Degree is maximum power of variable. See, I'm writing variable. It means we have to see the power of the variable only. Maximum power of variable. If it is a degree 1, so we can say it is a linear polynomial. If we find out it's a degree 2, so that is called a quadratic polynomial. If it's a degree 3, so we call it a cubic polynomial. Now let's take an example of it. Linear means the maximum power of variable should be 1. So if I write x plus 5, what I can see here, the maximum power of variable is 1. The power of variable is here 1. Now, quadratic means if you write like 2x square plus 3x. So what I can observe here, we have to see the power of variable. And we can see the power of variable is 2 and the power of variable is 1 here. But what is the degree? Degree is the maximum power. So maximum power means this is the maximum power 2. So that decides it is a quadratic polynomial. If I take an example like 3x cube plus 4x square plus 5x. Let's see. Now what I can see here, the maximum power is 3 here. Power is 3. Power of variable is 3. So we can say it is going to be a cubic polynomial. And one more thing. Sometimes possible the degree can come as 0. Okay, so we can add it here. The degree, if you find the degree comes out to be 0. If the degree comes out to be 0, so we call them a constant polynomial. Constant polynomial. So we can take an example of constant polynomial. Let's say if 5 is a constant polynomial. Why I am calling a 5 a constant polynomial? Because here the power of the variable is 0 here. If I say only 7, so 7 is also called a constant polynomial because the maximum power of the variable is 0 here. Okay, so we have learned the classification of polynomials on the basis of terms, on the basis of variables, and on the basis of degree. And what is degree? Degree is the maximum power of variable.